The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to animator Bill Plympton. The twice Oscar-nominated filmmaker is back with a new full-length feature called Cheatin. It's about a man and a woman who are deeply in love and all the crap that gets in their way. Oh, and it's quite funny at moments, too. Stick around. And next time someone shows you a picture of your spouse in a compromising position, please put on your reading glasses before you jump to any conclusions. So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, brought to you today by Amazon.com. When you visit MrMedia.com and click on any of the links to purchase books, music, movies, gift certificates, or anything else through our Amazon link, you support this free video podcast. Whenever you need something else from Amazon, please consider returning to MrMedia.com to order it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and we sure appreciate the support. And don't forget, MrMedia.com has more than 1,200 celebrity audio and video interviews archived on the site. That's hundreds upon hundreds of hours free entertainment. Subscribe for free on MrMedia.com and you'll instantly get an email every time a new interview is posted. You can also watch and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, the Realm Network, and Frequency.com. And if you preferred to just listen, Mr. Media is also available for free on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Blueberry, TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, Podfeed.net, and Player FM. You can subscribe to any of those services and never miss another episode. Finally, you can interact with Mr. Media Interviews on all kinds of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. Friend or follow us, we'll friend or follow you back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience full of really hot animated characters, led by Betty Boop and Jessica Rabbit, who aren't really bad, they're just drawn that way. In the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. As much as I love all kinds of motion pictures, the genre I've always been most in awe of is animation. Not so much the modern computer-generated stuff in the Pixar DreamWorks manner, but old-style hand-drawn projects lavishly created one frame at a time. It's an amazing craft and requires a focus and devotion I cannot possibly imagine possessing. But Bill Plympton does. Plympton, who's twice been nominated for Academy Awards, has for his highly personalized animated shorts, Your Face and Guard Dog, and who won the prestigious Palme d'Or in Cannes in 1991 for Push Comes to Shove, is back with a new full-length animated feature he calls Cheatin. It is exactly what it sounds like, about the causes and impact of a cheating spouse on a once loving relationship. It's beautifully drawn and easily propels its adult content, without adult images, I might add, from beginning to end. There are moments of sadness, and quite a few at the end that particularly made me burst out laughing. Bill Plympton, welcome to Mr. Media.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here to talk about my independent film, and I need all the help I can get. So I really thank you very much for being here.
I think anyone who sees it's going to tell somebody about it. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
We just need to get it under a lot of noses, I guess.
Yeah.
Bill, is it harder to do such an adult theme in animation, knowing, frankly, that not a lot of adults will give animation the time of day unless they're really, brought to the table?
To answer your question, two parts. Initially, making the film about adult ideas and adult situations and adult content is very easy because it's something that I live. This is my life. This is, although I don't try to kill people, I do have these thoughts a lot, and everybody has these thoughts. But for too long, animation has never been able to discuss them. It's always been made for kids and, little fairy tales and animals and princesses. And that's not what life is about. And so I think it's for me, it's quite a delightful experience to tell the truth about humanity and relationships. The second part of your question, yes, it's very hard to get distribution for this film, simply because Hollywood doesn't believe there's an audience for it, which is, I think, all wrong. You go to Europe or Japan, and there's huge audiences for films that speak about adult ideas and adult situations. But for too long, we've been dominated by Disney and especially Pixar now with their computer animation and their, fairy tales that the distributors are afraid to handle anything else. Ralph Bakshi opened the door a little bit back in the early 70s, and it was immediately shut after he stopped doing it. And so I'm trying to open that door again and break off that stereotype that there's no audience for adult ideas in animation. And I'm hoping Cheatin is that film that breaks through that barrier, that stereotype that animation is only for kiddies.
Now, it's interesting to me, when I got to the end of it, it struck me, it's an adult theme, cheating. I mean, clearly it's an adult theme. We're talking about adults and what they do behind closed doors, opened here by animation. But there's no nudity in the film. We're not actually seeing, genitalia of any kind.
Right. No insertions.
Right. Is there a kind of a line that you set for yourself that we're going to deal with the theme, but we're not going to, dirty it up by dirtying it up?
Well, I've done that in the past. I made a film called I Married a Strange Person, and I really went over the top on that one. The sex was really outrageous and really crude. This one I wanted to be a little more sophisticated. A lot of the reviews I've been getting in the past have been that my films were basically just sex and violence with a bunch of jokes thrown in. And on this film, I wanted to concentrate on storytelling, psychology, the depths of the relationship, and that's why I sort of minimize the nudity and the violence, although there's both of those things in there. It's more about the characters' development and their interaction, and that's what I wanted to concentrate on Cheatin'.
It seemed to me this would make a great, if there were double features anymore, like in an art house, this would be a great opening feature and then watch like a James M. Cain film. Postman.
That would be so perfect. I would love that because James M. Cain was a real hero of mine. Now, it's funny because I watched his films, and his films are my favorites because everybody's so dark and kind of evil and romance and how it twists you around. So I started reading his books, and I found his books very boring. I don't know if you've read much of his literature. The stories don't hold together. They ramble. They're not as tightly scripted as the movies. But yeah, I would love to do Double Indemnity or Postman Rings Twice with Cheatin'. I think that would be a fabulous double bill. If you know somebody down there, let me know. I'll come down and be there for that.
All right. And what about some of the things that I made a list of some of the things that I as I was going through, I was writing down the things that struck me in the film. I thought that the film had a very French feel. There's really no dialogue. We only know that it's an English film because some of the signage is in English.
Right. Right. Very good.
There was that. Early on, there's a kid who looked to me like he was out of one of the old Rugrats cartoons. And I thought that the carnival barker, you mentioned Ralph Bakshi, and the carnival barker made me think of a Ralph Steadman character.
Ralph Steadman I like. Let me tell you the inspiration for the visuals of this film. First of all, I like the cars from the 40s and 50s. I thought those cars were the coolest cars because they have more identity. They're more interesting to draw. They're more interesting to watch. And the cars today are just so similar. There's no identity to any of the cars. So I went back to the 40s for those cars. The clothes, same way. They're kind of 50s clothing, very retro. I love that kind of clothing. The architecture is from the 20s, kind of from a film noir movie. The music is from France, actually. The musician I hired to score and perform all the music is Nicole Renaud. She's a French chanteuse, and I've worked with her for a long time. In fact, the film that I won the prize at Cannes, she did the music for that. It was called Eat. And the film in its entirety is kind of like an opera. All the passions are over the top. They're very exaggerated. They're very emotional. And it just felt operatic to me. And that's why there's some other little operas in there, Bolero and Pagliacci and things like that. So it is very European. The music is very European. And it all kind of mixes together in this kind of strange melange. And it creates a different world, a different dimension. It's sort of a never land. And I like that. I mean, that's one of the charms of Star Wars is you go to this place that you've never been to before. And I want to take people to a place they've never been to before, a really strange, curious world, a world that they would love to be in and would not want to be kicked out of. And that was the idea behind the visuals of this film.
Well, speaking of the music, I'll skip to this. Another note I made to myself was about the Symphony of Intercourse.
Yes.
A couple of times. And again, just to clarify for people, you're not seeing graphic intercourse, but there's sheets and you're away and you can hear sounds. Mm-hmm. But it was all choreographed to the music. It was all orchestrated, so to speak. Is that type of thing? Is it harder to draw something like that? Any harder than any other scene?
Well, let me tell you, this film was a delight to draw. A lot of my earlier films, I tried to stay realistic. I wanted to have the surrealism really pop. This film, I decided to throw that out the window and just really exaggerate the characters, really stylize. For example, you know what I should do? I should give you a drawing. Do you have a Sharpie? Oh, here's one right here. Can you see this? Yeah.
Yep.
For example, people who haven't seen the film, Jake is this real muscle-bound kind of guy. Thank you. And he's kind of a Marlon Brando kind of guy. His nose kind of looks like a penis. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
And and that was sort of subconscious when I designed it, but he didn't plan it that way. And then he's got this stomach that is all abs. I mean, it's just like like that, and that's it. And I thought that was really cool, and I've never done anything like that. It's really stylized, very exaggerated, and of course his muscles are way out of proportion to his body. And I wanted to try something a lot more of a caricature than I usually do. It's hard to draw and talk at the same time here, but I'll do it.
You're doing
something
fine.
like that. That's Jake, who's the lover of Ella, and basically the star of the movie. And I did it with Ella too. Ella's model was Linda Darnell from those old film noir movies. What's it called? The Fallen Angel. I loved her in Fallen Angel. And so she was sort of the model for that. So I go back to the old archetypes, Marlon Brando, Linda Darnell, and then I just exaggerate them as much as I can. I used to be a caricature artist, actually, before I went into film. And so I love doing exaggerations of reality. So that's how I design these characters.
It was interesting. If someone watching the film wants a good contrast between the exaggeration of the lead characters and then everyone else in the film, there's a scene in the theater. I don't want to give away too much, but there's a scene in the theater.
Give it away.
Well, there's a scene in the theater where this sort of magician alchemist guy,
right. Alberto,
he's explaining why his show's been shut down,
right.
And everyone in the audience is very normally drawn. They have their proportional bodies, but then there's him and Ella and Jake, and then there's
right.
the criminal later, and they have like all the men have these big, huge upper bodies. Ella, of course, we get the description of her from Jake's list later. All the things that he likes in a woman, including he wants to make sure he finds another woman in the cheating. I just gave away too much. Who has a sweet ass? I like that. That's at the bottom of the list.
That's in English.
Yeah, right. It's very clear. That was one of the things I thought. Oh, a list. Let me see. Yep, that's English. Is that? I don't know. But so what you're saying is that was fun to draw. That was easy to draw. Was there anything in this film that was more difficult, more challenging than anything else?
Well, dancing is always difficult to draw, and there's a sequence in there where it's sort of like Yellow Submarine. It's called the Drinking Song. I forget who wrote it. It's a classic of and that was hard to draw. The dancing is always hard to draw because the dimensions are always changing, the positions are always changing, the clothing is always changing. But when I'm finished with it, I was really happy with it. I thought it worked really well. So in the end, it did give me pleasure. But dancing is probably one of the hardest things to animate.
Is that because not just the movement, but you've got to match it to the music?
Yeah, and you got to match it, the relationship between the two characters too, and that's always difficult. Where do their arms go? Where do they fit? You know, how do they mix with the fabric? And you'll notice there's not a lot of dancing in animation. It's very rare to see dancing in animation.
Cinderella, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? And coming back to choosing this particular topic, knowing it would be fun, but also knowing that it is hard to get adults to watch animation to begin with, and then even adult-oriented animation. Why do this full length as opposed to doing something that might be more commercial, like, I hate to say it, you know, something starring a really cute cat or dog? I mean, we know that stuff sells. We have the internet.
That's true. No, that's very true. Oh, first of all, I love drawing humans. They're much more fun to draw than cats and dogs. And you're right. If I made these cats or dogs, it probably would have sold a lot better. But I don't want to do the normal thing. I want to do something unique. I think people are looking for something different to go out to see a movie in. And this film is very unique. First of all, it's hand-drawn. It's not for children. It's a story that is very intimate and very personal and very raunchy. And I just think it's refreshing. It's something that people would like to see. I think they're tired of seeing all these fairy tales with cute little animals and singing cute little songs. I think they want to see something else. And, you know, there's a lot of adults out there who are looking for something to see, and I just think this is the film that will change their minds about animation and hopefully change Hollywood's minds about what you can do with animation. You know, Tarantino makes a lot of films that are really outrageous and sexy and violent, and they're basically cartoons, and people flock to see that. So I don't know what the difference is between a Tarantino film and a Bill Plympton film.
I will point out that although there's not a cute cat or dog, there is a screaming fish that's a hoot.
The fish is only in there 3 shots, and people love the fish, the screaming fish. So I may bring him back.
I was going to ask about that. He's natural.
I do autographs after each show, and I tell people, what do you want me to draw? And half of them say the fish. We want the fish. So who knew the fish would be so popular?
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the other things I made note of. Now, you mentioned Hollywood, and at the end of the film, I sometimes, you know, I'll watch the credits, sometimes I won't, but some names in the credits kind of caught my eye. Matthew Modine as a producer.
Yep.
David Fury on the first page of your Kickstarter list.
Yeah.
Right, and then your
wait, who is David Fury?
Oh, you being...
No, I don't know who he is. I'm sorry.
David Fury is, if it's the same David Fury, and I imagine it is, David Fury was a creator of the HBO show Dream On. He most recently has been a producer on 24 and Lost. Wow. And I want to say right now he's a producer, writer on Blacklist, I think.
Well, you're much more up to date on these producers. I'm sorry, but yeah, there's some good people on that list of supporters, and they were really helpful. A lot of them Twittered and sent the word out, Facebooked, and things like that. So we need people like that.
Why? Where does Matthew Modine figure into this?
Well, he's a partner with Adam Rakoff, and Adam was the Kickstarter guy. He ran my Kickstarter campaign, and he was really indispensable. He's right here, so I can't say anything bad about him.
Hi, Adam.
He was really he was really indispensable in the success of this film. He really helped spread the word, and the Kickstarter campaign, we asked for 75,000 and raised over $100,000. So it was a smashing success. So we were really delighted to have him as one of the producers of the film. And him and Matthew work on a bunch of projects together. I can't talk about them now, but because they may be secret, I don't know.
And was this the first time you've gone the Kickstarter route?
No, I did it before with a short film I did called The Flying House. It was a Winsor McCay film back in 1921 that was sort of forgotten as lost. And I sort of refurbished it. I cleaned it up. I did color. I did got rid of the balloons and the intertitles, and I had Matthew Modine actually and Patricia Clarkson do the voice. She's a good friend of mine. I've forgotten her name. And, this is very expensive because each frame had to be individually cleaned because there's so much dirt and scratches and dust in the original negative. So it was a 2-year project, and so we had to go to Kickstarter to help finance it.
Let's annotate Winsor McCay for anyone who doesn't know. The Adventures in Nemo's Adventures in Slumberland. I'm probably butchering it.
Right.
Very early 19th century or turn of the century comic strip that was kind of influenced pretty much everything that followed.
Yeah. Gertie the Dinosaur, which is one of the really first successful animated short films. And he was a hero of mine simply because he was a wonderful draftsman. He did all the drawings himself, just like me. And he was independent. He was truly independent. And he was one of the big heroes of mine. An interesting side of the story, if people want to get the DVD, it's out on DVD on my website. He worked for William Randolph Hearst doing the Adventures in Slumberland series. And Hearst forbid him to make any more animation because he was taking his talent and making animation. And because of that, I really think that Winsor McCay lost his spirit of adventure and creativity, and he really went downhill right after that and died soon after. So because he was forced to stop doing animation, he really ruined his life and his career.
Yeah, McCay is an incredible talent. If people don't know him, you should go look him up, find his work. So in terms of the Kickstarter, will you go that route again if need be? And what did you learn that you would do or not do again?
Well, we're thinking about doing it again. We have a couple projects in mind, and we may do it again. I love Kickstarter. I think that's the wave of the future. So many times I've gone out to Hollywood and done pitch sessions, and it is one of the most difficult, depressing, rejection-filled thing I could do. And so I really swore it off. And so, why do I go to these Hollywood producers who, first of all, don't believe in hand-drawn animation? They don't believe in adult animation. They've already made up their mind there's no market for this. So why do I waste my time doing that? I should go to my fans, people who love my work. And they're the ones who support me and will actually go see the film, not these Hollywood producers. So it just seems to make sense to me that's where I should get my financing, and I really think it's opened up a whole new industry of independent filmmaking, not just animation but live action too. And I think it's a very healthy era that we're living in, where anybody now can make a film and make money on it. And 15, 20 years ago, this would have all been impossible. So it's really a great era.
Have you given any thought to adapting Cheatin at some point as a graphic novel? It would seem like it would be a cool
Well, we have the storyboards, and the storyboards are beautiful. So we may do that. I think it's a great idea, but it's a lot of work, and you don't get a lot of money for it. And if someone came to me with an offer, then I would definitely consider it. But I got my hands full of too many other projects to do that. We want to release a CD of the music, which I think would do really well. And that's also in our plans to do stuff later on.
Hey, come on! You're an independent animator. You don't need money. What do you need money for? What good is money to you? You don't think about those things.
Well, Nicole Renaud did such a great job with the music. It's so beautiful, and it's very retro. It's very passionate. It's very emotional, and I think it would do very well as a CD.
I was just looking back at my notes again, and there was another thing thing that I saw, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, but there's that device in the theater where you change people, sort of. It reminded me of the transmogrifier from Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, I love Calvin and Hobbes. It's one of my favorite cartoon strips. But, I've never seen the transmogrifier. I wish I could. But, I've been doing transformations in my animation ever since my first film, which was Your Face. And that was really the film that started my career. It became a huge hit. It was nominated for an Oscar, won prizes all over the world, was shown on MTV. And so thanks to Your Face, my film Your Face.
Not my face.
Not Your Face. It really launched my career. And so consequently, I've been using a lot of transformations in my films since then.
And I'm throwing out references here for people to try to get them to connect. There were two more that hit me. That the film is a little bit Young Frankenstein and a little bit Big with Tom Hanks.
Gee, I never thought of those. Big. Why is it big?
Well, the changing from adult to, well, okay, that's a little stretch. I was thinking of just the changing from one person to another. In that case,
I see. The soul machine, the soul transfer machine. Yeah,
not necessarily because we're going from young to adult.
Yeah.
Although she does go from being a loving wife to a common slut several times.
Yeah, she does.
so maybe it's not that far off.
Well, that was one of the inspirations for the film also, that I wanted to portray a woman, or anybody, male or female, it doesn't have to be a woman, who loves his spouse so much that she's willing to let him cheat on her as long as she can be there to receive his love. So that's why I had to invent this trans soul machine, so her spirit could leave her body and she could enter the bodies of these sluts that he sleeps with. And I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was an interesting idea. I'd never seen it in a film before. At least, I haven't seen all the films, but I've never heard about it before. I just thought that was a funny idea. And I think it works. I think that she comes away from this experience, loving her husband even more.
It's an ingenious twist on cheating, because you think, oh, it's about cheating. It's like, I know everything about cheating. I've seen I've seen James M. Cain. I've seen whatever. But no, I would have never thought. And again, I don't want to give away too much, but it's pretty damn clever that he's cheating at a certain point, but he's not really cheating.
You're right. And that's where that one scene where he realizes this woman he's been screwing is actually his wife, even though it doesn't look like his wife. And that's what's so cool about that moment, is because it's not necessarily the visuals that you recognize as being your paramour, but it's the essence, the eyes, the movement, the little playing with the ear. And that's when he realizes that all these women he's been sleeping with were actually his wife. And then he reacts, and you see all these emotions as he replays every affair he's had, and each emotion comes up: anger, surprise, jealousy, curious, and all these emotions in his head. I think there's about 15 emotions, and they're bang, 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 bang. And I thought that was kind of cute. I thought that was a fun thing.
It was a great sequence of seeing all these things on his face. You think, wow, he's giving an acting lesson there. It's like, how quickly can you give us 15
he was
emotions?
like this and like, oh,
yeah. Now, how
you can only do that in animation. It's hard to do that. Get an actor to do that.
Robin Williams might have been able to do
Okay, maybe Robin.
Maybe Robin Williams, and we don't have him to kick around anymore.
Yeah, no.
Now you wrote, directed, produced, and animated. So how long did this whole thing take, and how much faster could you have done it if you had people doing at least some of the other stuff?
I did a film called Hair High, and I actually hired a few animators to help out. And the problem was that they're really great animators, really good artists, but they really couldn't get my style down. Plus, they were very slow. And I realized immediately that I could do it faster by myself and be truer to the character than use professional animators. So I let them go. and I've been doing it ever since on my own, and it's always worked out well. And to be honest with you, I love to draw. I love to do the animation. So why should I give that pleasure to somebody else? And so that's been my policy, my philosophy throughout my career. And I'll probably continue doing that. I'm working on a new animated feature film right now, and it's going to be about 30,000 drawings, and I'm making all the drawings myself simply because it gives me pleasure. That's the fun part.
Speaking of pleasure, at the end, one more credit reference. There are two production babies in the credits.
Yes.
One of them is named Plympton. Any relation?
Yes. It's my son Lucas, and he's about 2.5 now. And the other is Adam Rakoff's daughter. Yeah, what's her name? Emma, thank you. Yes.
I knew it. Why didn't you know it?
I know.
All right, so I know that Adam will produce my next movie because I knew his kid's name.
Ah, there you go.
Something to think
there
about
you go.
that.
Yes.
All right. And so, do you know what you're doing next? Do you have another project?
Yes, I have two feature film projects I'm working on right now. One of them is called Hitler's Folly, and it is a little-known fact. It's a mockumentary. Little-known fact that Hitler was a huge animation fan and actually started his own animation studio and made a bunch of animated shorts. And we found those films. We found his animated shorts, and he had plans to make a feature film called The Ring Cycle by the guy Richard Wagner, and
That guy.
and it premiered on on April 29th, 1945, the day he died. And that was the reason why he died, because the film was a huge flop.
Timing is everything in this industry.
Yeah. And it was his wife, actually, Eva Braun, who ran the War Machine. She was an S&M bitch from hell, and she was the one that really whipped up the troops. So that's almost done. We're just doing the sound mix now, so that'll be ready sometime in the fall. Then the other film, and I mentioned this earlier, is Revengeance, and it's by Jim Lujan, Lujan. He wrote it, and he did the character design, and he did he's doing the voices, and I'm doing all the animation, and it's really fun working with his characters. They're very similar to mine in that it's sort of the underbelly of L.A., corrupt policemen, corrupt cops, occultists, wrestlers, bikers, S&M dancers, transvestites, all the crazy people of LA. And that's about a third of the way done. It should be ready in 2016.
All right. Well, folks, Bill Plympton's new full-length animated feature, Cheatin, goes into general release in April, this month, 2015. You can find out when it might be in a theater near you or available on demand, or, as he mentioned, the DVD is available from his website. You can find out all that by going to his website, cheatinmovie.com. And there's no G, so CHEATIN movie.com.
Like Cheatin' Heart.
Exactly, not my Cheatin' Heart. Again,
yeah.
Let's not make this personal.
Actually, it's going to be available on Vimeo On Demand on April 21st, and we're hoping this is where we're able to make our money back. We spent a lot of money on the film. We're self-distributing it. Some of the theaters were four-walling because we really believe in the film, and we know the audience loves it. It's just that Hollywood doesn't want that sort of thing. So if you want to keep independent animation alive, you should definitely check out Cheatin' on Vimeo On Demand or at your local cinema. Also, I have to remind you that I just made a deal with Shorts International, and they're going to bring out my entire library, almost 15 hours of animation on iTunes. Starting in early April. So if you want to see some of those rare nuggets that nobody has seen, like Your Face or How to Kiss or one of those days, you should definitely check out iTunes and check out some of the rare Plympton films.
Great. And Bill, do you ever have time for Twitter and Facebook, things like that?
I try to Twitter occasionally and Facebook occasionally, but I have help from my studio, just so you know.
Okay. All right. We just want to know if you're out there.
Yeah. I'm totally out there.
All right. Well, folks, listen, you got to see this movie, Cheatin'. It's adult themed for adults. You'll like it. You'll get a laugh out of it. There's pathos. This is the whole thing. And Bill Plympton, thank you so much for joining us today on Mr. Media.
Well, if you bring your date to see the movie, please don't start cheating with her, okay? I mean, this is not a good thing. It's more of a entertainment film. It's not a how-to film, okay?
Not a how-to film. Boy, I wish you had brought that up at the beginning of the show. All right. Okay. Not a how-to film. Bill, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Hi, this is Buzz Burbank in the Buzz Burbank newsroom, preparing for you another Buzz Burbank news and comment. Do you like good stories? Boy, I sure do. I turn over a lot of stones each day to make sure I don't miss the best ones. Sure, some make me angry, and some make me sad, and some make me laugh, and isn't that what makes us human? I'm proud of the fact that I pack more news into my 10 or 15 minutes a day than the evening news does in a half hour. It's a free podcast at buzzburbank.com, or you can subscribe free at iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or get it on any RSS device. It's like a newspaper for your head. It's Buzz Burbank News and Comment, another Realm Network presentation. Weekday mornings right here on the Realm Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Prepare for awesome mediocrity.
We're the Cousin Oliver of the Realm Network. I'm George.
And I'm Tony.
And we're a weekly family-friendly podcast about pop culture.
From our point of view.
At realmnetwork.com, the George and Tony Entertainment Show from the Realm Network.
This is Snake. Do you read me, Otacon?
Loud and clear, Snake.
Did you listen to the latest episode of the Gaming Marathon on the Realm Network?
Of course. They really know their stuff about gaming, especially that Usad guy.
Yeah, but that Chirac guy is a real jerk. I don't like him.
Regardless, their reviews are spot on and they tell it like it is.
That's for sure.
What happened, Snake? Were you spotted?
Nah, it's just Lowell Melser crying about the O's again.
Close call.
I better continue the search for Metal Gear, but keep listening to the Gaming Marathon each week.
You got it, Snake.
New every Monday afternoon right here on the Realm Network.
It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Hi, this is Mark, and this is Lowell, and if you're fans of Don and Mike, you may know who we are.
Our number one interns. You've met them on the show. They're the guys that ate all the junk, and they were outside with each other holding hands with a sign that said that they loved each other wearing the dunce caps.
And what you may not know is that we started out as fans back in their WAVA days.
Hi, Don and Mike. It's Mark and Lowell.
Oh, yeah. Hey, these are two guys that we once actually called them our proteges, didn't we?
And now we have our own show, so we want you to give it a shot. Just check us out at the Realm Network, realmnetwork.com, or you can go to markandlowell.com.
Resistance is futile. It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Every Tuesday and Thursday evenings right here on the Realm Network. And catch the Poor Premium Show Friday nights.